It is time for the Sunday Roundtable, and joining us this morning, Boston Globe columnist Adrienne Walker and Republican political analyst Rob Gray. It's good to have you with us, guys. Adrienne, let me start with you, and let's start with Kate Campanelli, who sat in that chair. Did anything she say strike a particular chord with you?
You know, what struck a chord with me was her saying that there's a lot of soul searching going on within the Republican Party right now. I'm not so sure that's true. I'd like to believe that, but I think the Republican Party is still very much in the grips of Donald Trump, and I'm not sure it's provoking nearly, the January 6 hearings are provoking nearly as much soul searching as they should be.
Rob, what do you think?
Well, what struck me is she said we're the choice for the middle. So she and her running mate Chris Doughty are trying to do the Charlie Baker playbook, right? We're the moderate choice. The problem is that Doughty doesn't have the public management background of Baker, or more importantly, the money to get that message out there in the campaign. Maybe he has the money, self-funding, he's going to write a big check, but to break through, they're going to have to spend a lot of money on campaign advertising, much more than they are now.
Let's talk about that $250 tax break. Rob, let me start with you. What about the plan? What about the $250 and the $500 for the filing jointly couples?
Well, I think this is just basically a gimmick to try and distract from the fact that the Democrats in the legislature don't want to do permanent tax relief. Let's face it, 2/3 of the Massachusetts population isn't going to see any money. So we're talking about it, but I think they don't want people to see that they're not doing a gas tax holiday or Charlie Baker's tax cut plan. It's not a real tax cut to me unless it's permanent.
Adrienne.
Yeah, I think from a policy standpoint, it's kind of shaky, and I'm really surprised that the cap is so low. If you make less than $38,000 a year, you don't get anything out of this, and I don't understand that. If we're going to do $250 tax relief for people, which I don't oppose, then I think low-income people should be at the head of the line.
And let's remember, there's a $5 billion surplus that Beacon Hill is sitting on between COVID relief funds and just the regular state tax surplus. So that's taxpayers' money that they're sitting on. So it's kind of like, hey, we're going to give you $250. Well, no, we're giving 1/3 of you back the money that some of the money you already paid us in taxes.
Rob mentioned it too. Does it distract from the fact that there will be no gas tax holiday, state gas tax holiday?
There's no indication to me that the gas tax holiday is really happening.
And does this draw the attention away from that?
Yeah, I think it does.
It's an attempt, right? And they got put in a tough spot because Biden came out for a gas tax holiday, and the Democrats,
although we should
leader of
note
their
that
party.
gas prices are also coming down.
Right.
So there's less of an argument for a gas tax holiday.
They're still high,
than
but
there
they
was
are
2 months
dropping.
ago.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. The next topic I want to talk about are images, and we have some images I'd love to put on the screen. They continue to shock more. Almost a week later, members of the Patriot Front, which is a known hate group, marching through the streets of Boston, assaulting a man near Copley Square, and appearing in highly visible locations, like, for example, along the Freedom Trail. A lot to unpack here, but let's start with the response from Mayor Wu and law enforcement. Adrienne, has that been adequate?
I think it's been an abject failure by the Boston Police Department and by City Hall. I think that they should have anticipated this. I think they should have been better prepared. I compare it to the march post-Charlottesville, where there was great police preparation, and the city's response was really great, and we just did not see that here.
To Adrienne's point, it's almost striking that it was a failure in terms of anticipating that what would happen.
Well, here's the thing. I think it is real. Was it a failure? Yes, but it's also really hard to monitor these groups that come from out of state. I think it was 100 people or something like that. And they're trying to do it in secret and be aware of it in advance. Now, it's happened. They need to crack down. But this could have happened in Philadelphia or Charleston, South Carolina, or some other city that was connected to Revolutionary War history. It just happened to happen in Boston.
And speaking of what happened in Boston, take a look at this picture. Boston Herald photographer Stuart Cahill captured the stunning image of a man assaulted during the hate march. Is this, Adrienne, an image that will tarnish Boston's reputation for some time to come?
It's not good for Boston's reputation, for sure. It's bad. But to Rob's point, I agree that this is the world we're living in right now. And this is something that happened in Boston, but it could have happened in Milwaukee or Seattle.
But it happened here, and maybe it doesn't strike memories of the old picture during busing, but nonetheless, you have a white group and a black man that are being...
But with that picture around busing, I mean, it was clear that was a homegrown local resident. It's unclear to me, at least with this group, that these are homegrown people, that they're just not some people from other parts of the country that came in, use Massachusetts as their platform.
Right, right. But
Yeah, and I don't want to seem like I'm downplaying it either.
Right.
But I don't put it at the same level of Ted Landsmark getting attacked on City Hall Plaza.
You wouldn't do that.
In the midst of busing.